Welcome to Teachers in Real Estate Podcast with your host, Jackie Durbin. I've built a six-figure income from using what I learned from being a teacher. Teachers make great agents, but guys, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Some people are cutthroat and some clients will make you want to throw in the towel, but your years in education have built you for a career in real estate, and I'm here to help. With the right mindset and the right tribe, you can experience the same success. You can either supplement your income as a part-time agent or go full-time into real estate. The tools I will share will help you gain the confidence and the expertise to reach your goals. Whatever your goals are, let's enjoy this time together. This podcast is geared towards teachers who are looking to get their start in real estate and teachers who are already rocking those dual careers. If that's you, grab your notebook, pencil, and buckle up. We are about to begin Teachers in Real Estate. Welcome back to Teachers in Real Estate. I am your host, Jackie Durbin, and today we are continuing our mini episode kind of montage, right, of all the different challenges and obstacles that you might face when you're leaving teaching, or maybe you're just going to be supplementing your teaching career with a career in real estate. So I am so glad that you have found this episode. If you're new, welcome. And if you've been around for a while, welcome back. So anyhow, I just wanted to say that I'm super excited to really be doing this mini episode grouping of all these different obstacles, because I feel like, I remember there were people who, when I told them I was going into education, they really had like a misconception of what it was to be a teacher, right? And maybe even you felt that way. We compare what our life in education is going to be like based on what our own experience was. And I feel that the same is true when we transition into real estate. There's so many things that we just don't really know about, right? So we've been kind of unpacking those misconceptions, those obstacles, and today I'm super excited to be talking about a balancing act. Guys, I'm not going to put you on a tightrope, but one of the really things that was really hard, moving over into real estate from teaching was adapting to this flexible, sorry, misspoke, but anyhow, this flexible real estate schedule. Unlike those structured hours, right, of a school day, real estate, you have to really be able to adapt to the schedule that's coming to you, right? There are no 2 days alike. And I know a lot of educators say that, whether it's just in conversation or whatever, but it truly is that, right? So let's go ahead and let's explore the initial struggles that teachers may face, right? Let's share, as I will, some practical time management tips and really kind of work on maintaining that healthy work-life balance in this new profession. So in this episode, I'm going to kind of unpack that transition, right, to being flexible. I'm also going to talk about some time management strategies. And then last but not least, how to maintain that work-life harmony. So one of the things that I loved, right, about being a teacher, because I transitioned into education from being in the banking business. And the thing that I loved about banking was I had set hours. I typically didn't work on weekends. There were no nights. And so when I got into real estate, that was super nice. Or I'm sorry, when I got into teaching, obviously that was the same thing. However, when I transitioned from teaching to real estate, I found that I would be working nights. I would be working on weekends. No 2 days are the same. There may be days where like I have a full schedule of things that I want to get done, and then something happens and I'm unable to do any of those things. So really kind of transitioning into that flexible mindset and still being able to keep up with everything that was going on, right, that really needed to be done was hard. When I was teaching, I had a set schedule every single day, right? I start with math just because that's just how I always started my day, right? I would end the day with science. Reading, shared reading was typically after lunch, right? Just to kind of bring the kids in. They've just had recess. They're super excited, and I needed something that would kind of like calm them down a little bit. And it was just a time that, they could sit, they could relax, they could have their water or their snack or whatever. And then we just kind of, get into our shared reading. But I had a set schedule. While each day was not always the same, the time of day that I would do things were always the same. And getting into real estate, no, it's not a traditional, like conventional, like 9 to 5, right? This whole idea of real estate goes way beyond that, because you have to keep in mind, if you're working with buyers, you may be showing them homes when they get off work, right? So you may be working after 5. There may be times when, you're missing dinner with the family, or, obviously in real estate, if you're doing open houses showing homes, you may be working on the weekends. So being able to kind of transition into that flexibility was really hard for me. And I have no problem saying that it was hard for me, because it was, right? Shifting from that set schedule to flexible hours was a significant adjustment for me. And what I started finding were there were things that were non-negotiable. So I want you to think about the benefits of your teaching schedule, right? We have holidays off. We're off if you happen to be a parent, right? And you're listening, you're off when your kids are off, right? Because you have the same school schedule, or maybe not the exact same schedule, but you have a similar schedule. So one of the things that I would highly suggest to be able to transition to this flexibility is come up with your non-negotiables. What are you not willing to do? And then you have to maintain a mindset of abundance. Okay. If you get into the scarcity mindset, you're going to start giving up those things that you said were non negotiable. Like, one of my non negotiable items was, I will not miss church. I'm going to church with my family. I'm going to be participating in this because this is, something that's important to me. And then when I got in that mindset of scarcity, right, where, oh, if I don't show this house, they're going to go and see it with someone else. Or if I don't, miss this or skip that or whatever, then my business is going to fail. Guys, when you get in that scarcity mindset, that's when you are going to, the boundaries that you had set up, they're going to go away. And the moment you start doing it for one client, then you're going to start doing it for another client and another client and another client. And then what you're going to find is that, one, you're burnt out. Number two, you hate this industry. And number three, your family is going to start really kind of not really loving your new job. One of the things that my parents, my family, my kids all tell me a lot of times is they're like, man, you work so many more hours now that you're a real estate agent versus being a teacher. And you know what? For a long time, that was true, because I never turned it off. Guys, if there's any tip that I can give you, is decide times that you're going to turn it off. There's always going to be something that you can do, right? You can manage this, you can learn this, you can market that, you can do all these different things. But the thing is, if you're trying to do everything, you're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. So one of the things that I would definitely tell you is set up those moments. So now when we go on vacation, obviously I have to bring my laptop, right? But I tell myself, and I set the boundary, this is only going to be opened in an emergency situation, right? If I have a buyer who's ready to write an offer, if I have to do some negotiations, if I have to, do different things. Otherwise, I need to delegate those tasks. I need to make sure that I'm being present. When I was teaching, one of the things that I always told myself was, I'm not bringing papers home to grade. I'm just not doing it. And so what I had to do was I had to set up these different strategies on how in my day I would manage this, right? So when the kids were at lunch, right, I would eat and then also grade. One of the things that I started implementing very early, especially as I was in upper primary, fourth and fifth grade, is I started doing a lot of my assessments on Google Classroom, right? So I was able to create a form, and anything that was multiple choice, I would just tell the Google form what the right answers were. And the only thing that I had to go through and grade was just the short answer questions. Now, was it time consuming on creating these assessments and things? Yes. But once I created them, they were there for the life of the time that I was teaching that content. Also, using Teachers Pay Teachers, that was a huge resource for me, because I was able to take what had already been done and then now implement it into my teaching practices. Now, just like we did that, because being home and being present when I was home was important to me, I had to do the exact same thing in real estate, right? So setting up those systems, and that's what I want to talk about with time management. So you have to be able to have practical strategies, right, for organizing your day. Not only organizing your day, but also prioritizing your task, right? Staying productive amidst all of this ever changing day, right? Because no real estate transaction is going to be the same. And so, if you're able to master that art of balancing multiple responsibilities without feeling overwhelmed, you're going to feel more successful and you're going to feel more at ease. One of the things that I always tell people is take advantage of the things that are available to you. Okay. So, in my real estate career, while I do not mind showing properties, I also don't like to give up time that's special with my family. Okay, so if one of my kids had an activity and I knew that I had buyers, what I would do is reach out to other real estate agents, either on my team or in my brokerage, and say, hey, I have a buyer. If by chance this weekend they would like to view homes, would you mind opening the door for me? So that way I can be present in my child's activity. And guess what? They will. Now, am I compensating them for that? Of course, right? But even though I'm compensating them for it, I'm also still allowed to manage, right, my time. So that way the people who are most important, which is to me as my family, I'm able to still be present. Another thing that you can do is, once you are going through your real estate transactions, you can hire a TC. TC is a transaction coordinator. They can be a licensed real estate agent or an unlicensed. Obviously, talk to your state, talk to your broker, make sure that you're using someone that is allowed to do this task for you. But once you've kind of learned that art of the transaction, you know what these forms are. So that way, if clients ask questions, you're able to speak education, knowledgeable about the things. Hire someone who can do the paperwork for you. Does it take a lot of time to do all the paperwork, get all the files? No, it doesn't take a lot of time. However, the time that it does take, I could still be with my family. So finding people that can kind of do things for you. One of the things that I struggled with in the teaching career was delegating tasks. Okay. I'm a control freak. I'm trying to recover from it, but it's a day to day process. But I had to start saying, okay, what things will I be willing to delegate? The first thing that I started delegating was my copies. Okay. So what I did was I built a system, right? I would go ahead and write my lesson plans. I would put all of the things that I needed to have copied specifically for them or whatever it was, right? And then I would put sticky notes on it. I had folders for each day, and like, packing things, like, hey, here's my Monday drawer, Tuesday drawer, however you're going to organize it based on your classroom. But I had an assistant who could do that. Maybe you don't have an assistant in your classroom, but maybe you have parent volunteers, right? Or maybe the PTO. Maybe there's a volunteer that comes up and makes those copies. That was something that I didn't have to do. I could delegate that to someone else. Like, how important is it that the copies, are done by the teacher, right? The other thing was, like, if anything was laminated, or my bulletin boards, I started delegating my stuff, my bulletin boards, to my students. So, like, let's say that you're teaching now. Obviously, this isn't going to work for every grade level, right? You don't want kindergartners walking around with, like, big pieces of paper and stuff. But like for my fourth and fifth graders, I always had to have stuff for the kids who finish the task early, right? Because now they're going to be busybodies and they're just going to walk around and distract other people. So what I would do is I would say, hey, you know what? The first, five people who finish up, come to me and I'm going to give you, a task to do. And maybe it was, removing the winter stuff, right? And putting up spring stuff. Or maybe it was taking down the things. Or maybe I had papers that were graded and they were going to put them in their folders for them or in their cubbies so that way they could take them home. Different things like that. I had no problem as a teacher to delegate those tasks out. It's the same thing with real estate. You have to be willing to prioritize the task. What needs my attention? And what can I pass off to someone else? Now, obviously, like, I would still, like, stuff the folders, right, at school. I would finger through just to make sure that everyone had the same thing. But there's so many things that you can do, guys. Managing your time and really kind of setting those guidelines down is going to help you out when you're moving to a more flexible schedule that we have inside of real estate. The other thing is, because different things will come up in the schedule. One of the things that I always do in the morning when I wake up is I'll look at my calendar and I'm like, okay, what are the non-negotiables? What are the things that have to be done today? Now, it doesn't have to be done at this time, or maybe some are time sensitive. But then once I have that list, I'm like, okay, what is the priority? What's the thing that has to be done today? No ifs or buts, like it needs to be at the very top of the list. Being able to prioritize that is going to help you stay productive in this whole, like whether it's a transaction or working with someone, right? Because there really are a lot of multiple responsibilities. And the last thing I want you to do is to feel overwhelmed. All right, guys, the last thing that I want to give as far as a tip is maintaining that work life harmony. Okay. Balancing work commitments with your personal life is a constant challenge. So, there are some practical tips, right, to maintaining a healthy work life in real estate. Number one, setting boundaries. Okay. You need to schedule downtime, meaning in your calendar, you need to block out time that is your time. Okay. Whether it is sitting down and reading a book, maybe it's taking a walk. I was recently at an event, and the speaker, who has been in real estate for a lot longer than I have and has been extremely successful, the one thing that he shared was that every single day for 15 minutes, he goes for a walk. And he's like, when I'm on my walk, I don't bring my phone. I just don't. And the reason why is because I know I'm going to be on the phone, or I'm going to be reading emails, or maybe I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to be distracted. And he said one of the things that he really had to do was just kind of take away, like move away from the thing. Now, some people would be like, what do you mean I can't take my phone? Guys, it's for 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes of just you time. What it's going to do is it's going to allow your brain to just relax. You're going to be able to find the joy. If you have never done like deep breathing or whatever, I would highly encourage you to look at like YouTube videos, read some books on box breathing. So, a lot of times in real estate, in the 5 years that I've been licensed, I'll find myself having a lot of anxiety, right? Maybe I'm worried that it's not going to close. Maybe I'm worried that my buyers are never going to find the house of their dreams. Maybe I'm worried that I have marketed a listing incorrect and now it's not going to sell and I'm just going to be like a failure, right? One of the things that box breathing does is it really helps you to control your central nervous system. So, box breathing is kind of like think of it as your inhale and your exhale, and it's the same time that you're breathing. So, like if you inhale for 4 seconds and then you exhale for 4 seconds, and what it does is this deep breathing, right? You are slowing your heart rate. You are relaxing your mind. You're able to really be in charge of your emotions. And so you have to, in my opinion, really like schedule these times for yourself. So 15 minutes, right? You're going for a walk. Jackie, how will I know it's 15 minutes? Look at your watch, right? It's 7 minutes. Okay, now turn around and walk back the other way, right? You're going to come back to your starting spot. But you really have to have these actionable steps, right, to ensure that your professional life enhances, right? But you don't want it to hinder your well being. You don't want to get into a position where you're like, oh my gosh, this is too stressful. I can't do it. I just want to go back to it. There were so many times on vacations, my kids were like, we don't get to spend any time with you because you're constantly on your computer. And I had to really reflect on number one, I had to make sure that I wasn't being combative. Like, really? You don't want me to work, but you're enjoying this vacation. And how do you think we paid for this vacation? By me working. Yes, that's true. However, when I am planning downtime with my family, I have to be able to enjoy the downtime with my family. I have to be a part of the experience. Next month, we are taking our youngest, okay? We're taking him to Disney World and we're going to be gone for 6 days. And so one of the things that I've done is I've really planned for that. I talked to other people on our team like, hey, you know what? These are the buyers that I have that are ready to be looking during these 6 days that I'm out. I'm going to connect you with them over a text message. That way you all can get to know each other. Maybe I'm going to take them all out to lunch together so that way they feel that they're being taken care of in those 6 days, and just say, hey, you know what? If they want to see homes, they're going to reach out to you. Now, if they're ready to write an offer, obviously I can do that. Or if you listen to our other segments, right, you could hire that TC who, if they are licensed, they can go ahead and write that offer on your behalf. Now, I am delegating things because I have scheduled this time with my family, and this is the priority right now. You're allowed to take vacations. You're allowed to make yourself inaccessible to people. You do not have to answer the phone every time it rings. Okay. You are not a 911 dispatcher. No one is going to die if you don't answer your phone right now. If you have never played with the do not disturb on your phone, I highly encourage you to do that, because there's times when you really just need to be present in the situation. When you are putting your work life ahead of your relationships, guess what's going to happen? Yeah, the relationships are going to flounder. Your business may be doing great, but you have no one to talk about the excitement because you've never made them a priority. I'm blessed in that both my husband and I are both in real estate, so we understand the emotions that can come involved. Okay, like there's a lot of times when my husband is super stressed out, his anxiety is through the roof, and I have to remind myself, okay, why is he feeling this way? He's feeling this way because there's a lot on his plate. What can I do as his spouse to kind of take things off of his plate and make him feel supported, appreciated, and, that I get it, that like, yeah, this is hard. Those are things that are super important. When you stop maintaining that work-life harmony, you're going to see ripples in your relationships. And especially if it's someone who's important, you may even be closing them out. If I go on a vacation with my children and I'm on my computer and I'm missing out on things, what am I telling them? They're not as important. And that's the last thing that I want to do. So there has to be that work-life harmony. Guys, adapting to this flexible schedule is really just a total learning curve, right? But if you can transition, right, to that flexibility, if you can create some strategies for your time management, if you truly can maintain that work-life harmony and make sure that people who are important feel important, then you are going to crush it, right? So guys, teachers thrive in the dynamic world of real estate. We just do, okay? We know how to maintain our focus. We're really good at delegating for the most part, or maybe it's something that you're working on. But guys, if you have questions, if you would like for me to explore specific topics in the future on episodes or mini episodes, please make sure that you connect with me on social media. You can find me on Instagram. My handle is Jackie Durbin AZ. That's JACKIE DURBINAZ, and I would love to connect with you. If you happen to be listening to this podcast on your phone right now, take a snapshot, take a screenshot, whatever they call it, right? Post it on your story, tag me in it, and I would love to be able to get this message out to other people. But until next time, keep adapting, keep balancing, and keep thriving in your real estate journey. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time on Teachers in Real Estate. Bye.